Welcome to Creatively Optimized, the podcast for service businesses ready to shine online. I'm Jenny Belanger, the founder of Jenny B Designs, a web design studio that builds strategic and beautiful websites that are designed to book you ideal clients and make you money. With over 10 years of growing my own design business, I'm here to share tips to creatively optimize your business. Get ready to learn web design strategies for high converting websites, digital marketing tactics to reach ideal customers, and systems to simplify operations. If you're ready to blend creativity and strategy, you're in the right place. Join me on this journey to creatively optimize your unique business. Let's do this. When's the last time your website got a good deep clean to keep pace with your changing business? As spring starts to take bloom, so should your online presence. A shiny and refreshed website welcomes opportunity while a stuck-in-winter one kind of repels it. Let's breathe some new life into your site to attract today's clients with my website spring cleaning tips. If we haven't already met, I'm Jenny B. I own Jenny B Designs, a brand and web design studio, and I adore helping other small business owners really bring out their online personality and let their brand shine online and attract their ideal clients and make money with their websites. As I'm recording this, it's March. Spring is in the air, although here in Boston, it is still kind of cold, but I know it's coming. And it's kind of time for that renewal, the fresh starts, those good old-fashioned spring cleaning. And this spring cleaning definitely also includes dusting off your website and giving it a little TLC. A clean and shiny online home really is the perfect way to attract new visitors, leads, and sales as we head into this new season. I'm going to share with you some tips and tricks that I have for kind of spring cleaning your website. And I want you to just sit back and listen. And what I've done is I've created a document for you using Notion. You don't have to have a Notion account to use it. And if you haven't already heard, I kind of adore Notion to death. It's like my favorite thing to use. But what I've created for you is a checklist. You can create a free account, or if not, it's just simply kind of like a Google Doc, but way better. I'm going to have the link below for you to grab it so you can listen to this episode. You don't have to take notes. And then when you want to go back and look at your website, just grab that freebie down below and you'll be able to go cross-check it and make sure that you're getting all these things done as we head into the spring season. So let's talk about tip number 1. The first one is we want to clutter visuals and text. We want to do a deep declutter of both the visuals and the text on every single page of your site. For your images, I want you to think about what you have across that home page, that hero section. And then you're going to look on your inner pages, your blogs, your ads, anything like that. I want you to eliminate any photos that feel outdated visually. Think about your brand as it is today. Are there any images that just don't reflect it right now? It's a really good time to go through all the pages and just kind of check. Check if you have some teams on your pages. Perhaps you have an employee or staff member that's no longer there, or you have some new staff members. It's a great time to add their pictures to that page. And just check every page and ensure that your visuals really have that fresh, clean, on brand, as in on brand in the moment, high quality look to it. When it comes to your copy, the words on your page, start reading your text line by line with a really critical eye. Cut out any frilly language. I always like to say less is more. So take away anything that doesn't offer real value. Tighten up those long paragraphs into more scannable sections. And really focus on what matters most to your visitor. See if you have any redundant points. Maybe you say the same thing at the beginning of the page and at the end of the page. You can reduce that and just have one concise paragraph with a call to action per section. By streamlining both the visuals and the words to just the most essential effective elements, you really get rid of that clutter that can distract your visitors. And this refinement really lets your key values, your key points shine clearly, and it takes away anything that's slowing down that user experience. I always like to say, have an outside person look at your website, a trusted colleague or a friend, just to look and scan for clutter. Because sometimes when we look at our stuff for too long, we kind of become numb to it and it's just something that we see. But those fresh set of eyes really always help. I have a group of girlfriends that I like to chat with on the regular, and they're not in the online business space. And every once in a while, I'll just ask them their thoughts on something because it's so interesting to get the feedback of someone who's not in that online space to see what they really think because they're coming with that fresh set of eyes. And it's always such an important perspective to look at things through. So there you go. That's the first tip. You want to remove that clutter and it'll set you up for a really great on-point website for the springtime. Tip number 2 is to streamline your site navigation. I talk about this a lot too. So while decluttering the visual and written copy is important, we also want to understand and evaluate how people are flowing through your website. Is that navigation experience intuitive or are there issues causing confusion? Look at that primary menu, typically at the top of your website, the ones that are probably services, about, contact. Are those labels clear for what each section contains? For example, sometimes I find if someone has a blog, sometimes they like to give that blog a really cool name that I love. I love blogs with really fun, cool names. But when it comes to your menu, you should have that menu item just say blog. And then when someone clicks that, they know that they're going to your blog, and then from there, it can have a really fun title. So what I'm saying is make sure that those top-level navigations are really clear and visitors understand exactly what that word is, and they'll understand what, when they click, that they're going to go to. Again, with the first look, you can enlist some friends, some trusted colleagues to look at your website with fresh eyes and just understand their path of that visitor and if they can explore your site properly. Do they bump into any dead ends? I always say leave no dead end. What that means is that at the end of every single page on your website, we want there to always be a call to action button, a link leading them to the next page or the next place that you want them to go while navigating your website. So have a friend look at your website and make sure that there aren't any dead ends and that they can successfully navigate your website and get to the call to action that you're requiring them to get to. Tip number 3 is to freshen up the content. I really love the change of seasons. I always get so energized by them. I find that I have a lot of ideas that I want to put into place, and it's a great time to update or brainstorm some new content for your website. You can do this by looking at your most popular blog posts or your most popular freebie. What do you think really resonates with your audience? And maybe consider building on these with maybe a new sequel or a series or a related piece that pulls a visitor back in. If you do a quick content audit, just to check what you have and to see if you have any gaps, maybe that's where you could focus your fresh material on. For example, I like to talk a lot about highly converting websites, marketing tips that you can implement on your website, and a lot of processes and strategies that I put in place behind the scenes. And I think that maybe one of the gaps that I've had is kind of the back end processes that I haven't shared a lot about. So I know that in the upcoming months, I really want to share a lot about my systems and my processes. And that's kind of one of the content gaps that I have. Maybe when you do a quick content audit, you'll spot something that you can maybe create fresh material on. And you want to look at the trends and seasonality too. What really is top of mind in your industry currently? Are there any new innovations or strategies that you can cover? Are there any seasonal hooks that you can take advantage of? When you're thinking about this content, I don't want you to get overwhelmed. I think it's really more about quality over quantity. So maybe a few really in-depth pieces are way more valuable than just filler posts that no one reads. I think for the spring, I want to focus on 3 new really good content pillar pieces to write about that I will kind of filter off for the rest of my marketing pieces. But I'd say start small and you can always work up. And my final tip about the content, make sure your content sounds like you. We want your unique voice and your perspective. We want to bring your unique brand personality out online. And having this fresh content and your voice on your website absolutely does this. Tip number 4 is check your website speed. It's always important just to run your site through a speed checker to identify if there are any really big lagging elements. When you have a higher speed, it equals higher rankings and conversions. And what this means is that search engine optimization, search engines tend to favor sites that are faster, especially on mobile. And more often than not, mobile is what people are accessing your website on. You want to make sure that there aren't any clunky plugins or weird features slowing down your site, especially for those WordPress sites. Just run it through a speed checker and make sure that everything is working properly. Sometimes, if you aren't updating your plugins, it can really cause speed issues with your website, and you won't even know it if you don't check these things out. So just run it through a quick website speed checker just to see how things are coming along. Tip number 5 is to improve your mobile optimization. And what do I mean by this? You want to be scrolling through your website on multiple devices. Your phone, your iPad. Have a friend, if you have an iPhone, have a friend look at your website with an Android. Make sure all those buttons and calls to actions work. Make sure your text is sized properly. Mobile is really hard because you can't get it 100% perfect as much as you try. So you want it to look as best as we can. Sometimes what I like to do for mobile is when I design for desktop, I love imagery because imagery brings out your brand personality, right? And I love playing with beautiful imagery on a website page for desktop. But when you go to the mobile version, typically people are more in a take action type mode versus a browsing and viewing and relaxing type mode. And so when I optimize a web page for mobile, a lot of times I tend to minimize the images or hide the images so they aren't appealing on the mobile version. And people can just scroll through and see a few images here and there, but really get to the essence of what you want them to do and making sure that it leads with the copy. So take a peek on your mobile experience. Do you think it's getting the job done? And if not, it's a great time to update that. Tip number 6 is to work on your freebie or enhance it, your irresistible freebie, as I like to call it. A really important part of spring cleaning is to take a fresh look at how well you are currently capturing those high-value leads. And this starts with auditing what information the visitor gets, requested, and where. Do your current opt-ins match their interests and their needs enough to drive action? Are they placed strategically at points when someone's motivation peaks? What I mean is that on your homepage, for example, someone's scrolling down and you probably have a section on there talking about your freebie. Do you think it's in the right spot where someone is learning about you and your business and then they're like, oh, I'm really interested. And then the freebie pops up and they say, oh yeah, that's a great thing. I'd love to learn more about that. Or do you have it up at the top and maybe it's not getting as many conversions because people don't really truly understand what you do and they're not excited about it yet? So check and see, where does your opt-in lie on the page and is it placed strategically? Is there any friction in that process that is hampering conversions? Try signing up for your freebie. Are you encountering any problems or is it everything smooth? And then think about fine-tuning those freebie headlines and descriptions to be really ultra-specific about the value offered in exchange for the contact details. Because I know people are less and less apt to give away their email address unless they're getting something super valuable. So think about that headline and the description. Does that make you think that you want to sign up for it? Ask those set of friends, is this a really good headline? Because you want to get those conversions and you want to share what the person is going to be getting once they hand over their email address. And like I always say, you want to over-deliver with those freebies. You want to make sure that they know that they're special and they're getting really good quality information. And it's important to get that headline and description right. And then check your back-end systems. Like I was talking about before, making sure that everything in the back end is effortless to deliver on what you promised to that person who's giving you their email. If you're using ConvertKit or MailChimp or MailerLite, when you put in your email, are they getting to that freebie group on the ConvertKit side? And then are they getting the welcome emails and are they actually getting the freebie? Make sure whatever is supposed to happen on that back end is actually still happening. And I always mention this. If you have a thank you page, which I tend to build for all my clients, meaning when someone signs up for the freebie, they're redirected to that page that says thank you. Is it still accurate? Look at the copy there. Does it still reflect who you are, the offers that you want to share with the person? And is there a visual? Don't forget that page, because I find that that's usually a hidden page on your website, and sometimes we just don't get back to check it. So check it when you're going through this process. Tip 7 is review analytics for insights. You want to dive into data and look for clues on what's working and what's not. I like to check traffic sources. This one is a big one for me. I like to know where I'm spending my time, what's working, and where I shouldn't be spending my time. And I always give this example because I love Instagram. It's so pretty to me and it makes me happy and I enjoy being there. But when I look at my analytics, I'm not getting a lot of traffic from Instagram. Where I am getting a lot of traffic from is Pinterest. And to me, Pinterest is one of those things that is just so tedious and time consuming, but I am getting the results from it. So what I've had to come to terms with is that I can't be on Instagram all the time. That's not where my time is best spent. I need to focus on Pinterest. And by understanding where your traffic is coming from, you can really fine tune where you're spending your precious time, because I know we all have limited time. And it's important to get that data to really understand what's working. I also like to look at the site flow. This is a good one, understanding where people are coming from and where they're leaving. It's important to know if there are any blog posts that are really popping off that people are really excited about, or what is attracting their attention. Where are they coming in? And then where are they leaving? And I love, 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 love to look at where they're leaving, because when you're saying that a lot of people are leaving, let's say from your about page, they get to your about page and then they leave. Why are they leaving? I love to ask that question, why? When you look at the page, is there enough information there? Are you sharing about who you are and why you do what you do and how you can make their lives better? Is it your copy? Is it not resonating? Or could it be that there are no calls to action? You just have a page about you, basically, but no call to action or no button driving them to the next step in your process? Maybe that's it. Perhaps try adding something to that page, or perhaps try adding your freebie to that page. Maybe that could be a really good place to drive conversions. Just thinking about where people are leaving, looking at that page, and then seeing what tweaks you can make. It's a really great thing to look at. Those are probably two of my top data sources to look at. The third one could be who is looking at your website. And this, I find, kind of helps you fine tune your audience. You can understand, looking at the demographics, if you're catering to, let's say, women entrepreneurs, and you're noticing that a lot of men are coming to your website, then you know that something is off with your core messaging or where you are messaging and putting your information out. So that's another one that you could also look at. But I really love looking at the traffic sources and the site flow the most. And then my final tip number 8, is set some new goals. Close out this spring cleaning process by really gaining clarity around the goals that you have for the next months ahead. Map out what you want your future site enhancements to be. Think about the campaigns that you have or the features that you want to have that will take your visitors to the next level and continue on their journey with you. Perhaps if you are a coach and you have a group coaching program that is going in this spring, then maybe that's one of your goals, is to fill that. Or perhaps if you have a new offer. I have an offer for an audit that I'm really focusing on for the next 3 months, because I find the spring is a really great time to get clear on what is and what isn't working with your current website. I am promoting that for the next 3 months. That's a goal for me, is to drive recognition for that offer and to have clarity around what I'm sharing out as it pertains to that offer. So look at your goals, what you want them to be, and put a time and place in when you want to review those, preferably before the summer starts. I love doing this in March, kind of going through my site, doing the spring cleaning early March. And then typically in May, I'll look back and say, how did the spring go? And what do I want to focus on in the summer? Because I know when June hits and my kids are out of school, everything just gets wild. So it's really good to kind of have a timeline in place for when you're going to look at those goals and see what happens and do the review and then map out the next season that you have ahead of you. And there you have it. That is my website spring cleaning tip list. I'm going to go through them again really quickly. The first one is declutter visuals and text. The next one is streamline site navigation, freshen up your content. You're going to check your website speed. Think about perhaps improving your mobile optimization. Look at your opt-ins and lead captures. You want to review your analytics so you understand what's happening. And then tip 8 is set new goals. Like I said, I didn't want you to have to take any notes. I have a link down below. You can grab this whole list so that when you're able to sit at your desk and, take about an hour of time to look at your website, you can really go through my tips and check them off as you do it so that you could have a sparkling new site for when springtime comes. I'd love to hear your biggest website spring cleaning wins. Definitely tag me on social. I am on Instagram at @JennyBDesigns, or I'm over on LinkedIn. You can find me down below. Let me know kind of what resonated with you in this spring cleaning tune-up list. I'm really, really curious. And if you are finding that you want a second set of eyes on your website, I do have my website audit where I take a look at what's working with your current website, what might not be working, and then share with you a list of ways that you yourself can update your website to make it a little bit more strategic and efficient so that it is attracting more of your ideal clients and at the end of the day, making you more money. So I will include a link down below for more information about that. Thank you so much for listening, and cheers to spring. I'm excited to see how everyone's websites turn up. Thanks so much for listening to this podcast all the way to the end. I really appreciate you being here. Please make sure to subscribe to the podcast, rate, review, and share it with someone else you know it can help. If you like this episode, then I want to invite you to visit JennyBDesigns.com, where you'll find videos and resources to help make your current website work even harder for you. And if you're feeling like your current website doesn't truly reflect you or your brand today, it's not attracting your ideal clients or making sales, or maybe you just feel embarrassed by it and it's holding your business back, then reach out. I'd love to help you design a website that truly reflects you, works for you 24/7, bringing in those ideal clients and making you money. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time for another new episode.